Glory America, bonjour, hi Canada. I'm Hugh Hewitt, and I am hot this morning. I am very hot. Pete Hegseth, who is not a personal friend, though I know him, is going to be an excellent Secretary of Defense, and I have been angry since I saw this sneering online last night. Oh, he's a television host. He's 44 years old. What's Donald Trump's picking his host off to? Pete Hegseth is a decorated combat veteran, 2 Bronze Stars. He's a major. He's a soldier. He deployed 3 times to Iraq and Afghanistan. Twice he earned the Bronze Star. He is the author of this book, among others, The War on Warriors. I interviewed him this summer when it came out, and we'll play that later in the day. Pete Hegseth is not conventional choice, but we don't need a conventional choice. We got to turn the Pentagon upside down, get rid of the DEI, restore our recruitment appeal. We need a warrior leading the warriors, and that's what Pete Hegseth is going to be. And the sneering that is coming from talking heads on X, Jonathan Lemire from MSNBC, Jim Acosta from CNN, all these children of the Beltway bubble and the Manhattan media elite. Well, you know where you can stuff it. The generals, they work for the civilian leadership of the Pentagon. The president-elect won the election. He wants Pete Hegseth, and Pete Hegseth has thought long and hard about this job. May I read you 2 portions of it? Number 1, learning is a good thing, but intellectualism and intelligence aren't synonymous. You have to be willing to get your hands dirty to translate learning into wisdom. Alexander the Great learned from Aristotle as a boy, but he also led from the front. At the same time, Genghis Khan, the rare uneducated military genius, was able to conquer vast amounts of the known world. And while not a single general working for him had a master's degree or PhD, he didn't have to carry his vaccination card to deploy. We need the Alexanders of the Great studying with Aristotle, or at least that used to be true. I used to think it was a good thing that for decades, almost every senior military officer was encouraged to attend graduate school and an elite university, mostly because civilians might learn something about the military. But the opposite happened. Our military leaders didn't learn real knowledge from civilians. They learned how to think like civilians, and too many of them contracted the woke mind virus. Skipping ahead. What is it about this time in American history that is giving us so many feckless generals? Why would leaders who served honorably for over 30 years now decide to completely abandon all their commitments and previously proclaimed values to be on the right side of a political narrative, or the, quote, right side of history? American history abounds with generals who decided their honor and fidelity was more important than surviving a political storm. They stepped away from their posts rather than retreating from their convictions. The answer is pretty straightforward. Courage is surrendered to safety, merit surrendered to equity, and honor surrendered to ideology. Careers, not the Constitution, are the highest calling of our general class. To save themselves, they must have surrendered our warriors. To save themselves, they have surrendered our warriors. He is the fabulous guy. I'm going to replay the interview about this. So don't put up with this nonsense. From Elizabeth Warren, of all people, a fake Native American, a law professor, telling you that Pete Hegseth can't run the Department of Defense. It's astonishing to me. They want Harold Brown. They want spectacles. Harold Brown did The Last Supper, destroyed the defense industrial base. We need to get ready, get moving, roll out. Other news, John Ratcliffe, CIA. I got to spend a couple of days with John last year. I don't know him well. Former U.S. Attorney, Eastern District of Texas. Former Director of National Intelligence, Congressman. Whip smart. I mean, wicked smart, as they say in Boston. He'll run a great agency. Moreover, the guy shot a 73 and he missed 6 birdie putts. I'm a great caddy, by the way. But John Rick, I've never seen a civilian. I mean, I've seen professional golfers do this. I have never seen a civilian golf like that. Elon Musk is going to join with Vivek Ramaswamy on the Department of Governmental Efficiency. And that, my friends, is a great thing. That is a terrific thing. The Department of Governmental Efficiency is, I think he's left them too much time. To make it work, it's got to be done this year, because the recommendations that do have to go into the budget next year so they can be part of the reconciliation. I hope he combines EPA and Interior. I hope they combine a whole bunch of things. Interior is the one I'm waiting for, and education. Interior is the single biggest impediment to economic dynamism and growth in the United States, because they hold back commercial, residential, energy developments, data centers with their 404 permits, their Section 7 consultations, their Section 10A permits. When you get Pete Hegseth and whoever's running the Army Corps of Engineers and their 5 senior staff, and you get Elon Musk and Vivek and you get Lee Zeldin at EPA, and you put them all in a room, and you say, okay, gentlemen, you have 5 weeks to clear your backlog of 404 permits, Section 7 permits, Section 10A permits. You either turn them up, approve them, or you turn them down, and you explain to me why, and I might overrule you and approve them. It is time to roll out. Kristi Noem at DHS. I don't know Governor Noem except from an interview or two. She's going to be terrific. What really matters there is everybody throws in on the border. Everybody throws in on protecting America from terrorists. We stop hiring an abundance of TSA people to stand around at counters where Americans are not carrying bombs and send them to the border to stop people from entering. Mike Huckabee, Governor Huckabee, the first Governor Huckabee. Governor Huckabee the first is going to Israel. That's fabulous. I don't know where David Friedman's going. He was a great ambassador, but Governor Huckabee's going to Israel. Bill McGinley, I do not know. White House counsel, I do not know him. I'm sure he's a very tried and tested. That's the president's personal lawyer. I worked in the White House counsel under Reagan, and Fred Fielding was the counsel. Dick Hauser was the deputy counsel. We only had 7 lawyers. You don't need a big White House counsel's office, but you got to have the confidence of the president. Steve Witkoff, I don't know who that is, special envoy to the Middle East, but I'm sure the president has confidence in him. Here's the point. The president-elect is moving out like Patton in terms of these appointments because he sat and he thought and he learned. Now, we don't know the AG yet, and we don't know the Department of Interior yet, and we don't know the Department of Education yet. The AG, I was on with Larry Kudlow yesterday. Let me play the start of that. Does it fit in here? Larry Kudlow. No, it doesn't fit in here. I'll play it a little bit later in the program. Let's start with Larry Kudlow, though. Cut number 6.
So, all right, Hugh, step back for a minute.
Good to see you, Larry.
You've seen the pics. We had a new one today. Mike Huckabee, former governor, Arkansas. He's going to be the ambassador to Israel. Anyway, what do you think of this crop? What do you think so far?
I've been smiling since Tuesday, Larry, because of the relief with Donald Trump's reelection and the greatest comeback in American political history. But with every name, I get happier. Now, I want a full disclosure. My son works for Mike Waltz, who's going to be the new national security advisor. But I would recommend everyone in the audience read his first book, Warrior Diplomat, his brand new book, Hard Truths. He's a realist. He's not eager to get into any war, but he believes in peace through strength. He's such a smart guy, and he's a Green Beret. I don't know the last time we had a national security advisor who's been in a gunfight. That's not a qualification per se, but it certainly adds to the gravity of dispatching American troops in harm's way. I think Elise Stefanik is great. I've only met her on the radio, but she is a great Jean Kirkpatrick, Daniel Patrick Moynihan talent level, be able to speak for the West on behalf of the United States. I think Marco Rubio is absolutely, if it is in fact Secretary Rubio, one of the most eloquent and informed and persuasive people out there. When I look at Susie Wiles, I pointed out to people, Donald Trump, Jeb Bush, Rick Scott, and Marco Rubio all like Susie Wiles, so she must be something special. I've only talked to her once. Lee Zeldin, great domestic affairs. I just am impressed with everything that's rolling off the conveyor belt and the orderly speed with which it's advancing, but I really like the national security people. I've got my eye, Larry, I'm sure you do, on justice and defense and treasury, CIA and DNI, because those are our national security things. You know more about the economy. I'm a national security guy. I'm very confident he'll continue to bat 1,000.
You know,
So just leave it there. This is the point I want to make. Actually, let's play a little bit of Pete Hegseth at CPAC 21, cut number 11.
People outside these walls, some of the press that are covering this, they don't understand the attachment that conservatives and freedom lovers have to Donald Trump, to the former president. They don't get it. They think it's some sort of a misinformation, cultish thing, cult of personality. Oh, they love the bravado. That's not what it is. I'll explain why we love them in one military analogy. I was a platoon leader in Iraq. I was an infantry platoon leader in the Army. And the one situation you know is the most dangerous situation that you don't want to find your platoon stuck in is what's called a near ambush. So you're walking through a neighborhood and you walk into a near ambush, meaning the enemy has the high ground. They're concealed, and you're stuck in what's called the kill zone on the X, and they've got you pinned down. Rifles, grenades, everything. You're right there in the kill zone. You don't want to be there. You're dead if you're in the kill zone, for the most part, unless you act, okay? the battle drill for being in the kill zone of a near ambush is definitely not crouch down and hope you survive. Because it's never going to happen. Your only option is to immediately seek cover, immediately pop your grenade, throw it, and then charge toward the enemy that you still can't see.
That is what Pete Hegseth talks to. Our recruitment crisis is over. All right, our recruitment crisis is over with Pete.